In the peaceful community of Ogudu, where life still carried the rhythm of drums and evening gossip floated through open windows, there lived a woman everyone loved and respected, Mama Dorcas. She was the kind of woman whose laughter filled a room. Her words carried warmth and wisdom. Her generosity fed many mouths. To the church, she was an elder, a devoted Christian whose voice often led hymns. To the market women, she was a helper. To the young, she was a mother. Among those she loved most was Folake, a bright young woman whose light could not be hidden. Folake worked at the Dangote refinery, a director in her early 30s, smart, confident, and blessed with beauty and grace. She had just received a major promotion, one that made her a symbol of success in the community. The day Folake shared the good news, she went straight to Mama Dorcas' compound. Mama Dorcas welcomed her with open arms, laughter, and warm hugs. "Ah, my daughter, you see why I always tell people that good things will follow those who serve with joy? God is truly blessing you." Her words were sweet, but her heart was no longer pure. For behind her cheerful face, Mama Dorcas carried a secret fear. Her wealth was fading, her body weakening, and her charm, that magnet that once drew favor and fortune, had begun to lose power. When night came, she sought the counsel of a feared Babalawo, a Juju man whose shrine smelt of old blood and burnt herbs. She begged for renewal, for strength, youth, and wealth. The old man looked at her with clouded eyes and said, "To renew your life, you must draw from the life of others. Host a grand party. Let the young and prosperous wear a special cloth. Their glory will flow into you like water into a calabash." Mama Dorcas nodded slowly. She knew exactly which souls to choose. Days turned to weeks. Invitations were sent across the city. The Aso Ebi she ordered was the talk of the town. Rich, royal blue with golden embroidery. It shimmered like morning dew on palm leaves. But no one knew that deep in the weave of that fabric were incantations spoken at midnight. Words that changed the destinies of the wearers to the woman who sold it. She told everyone that the fabric was in two types. One for her fellow elders, her age mates and friends, and another more vibrant version for the younger ones she lovingly called my community children. "I want my children to stand out," she said with her usual laughter. "When I look around, I want to see color. Let the young wear the brighter one. That is the beauty of life." Folake, unsuspecting, was one of those children. When Mama Dorcas personally called her to buy the Aso Ebi at 150,000 naira, she didn't think twice. After all, it was Mama Dorcas, her church elder, her second mother. "Anything for you, Mama," she said with a smile. Little did she know she was buying her own sorrow. The night of the celebration came. The sound of drums filled the air. Perfumes of stew and pepper soup mingled with laughter. Mama Dorcas' compound glittered under the lights. At midnight, the woman of the hour appeared, radiant, glowing, and full of life. The guests cheered, they toasted, they danced. When Mama Dorcas blew out her candles, she whispered under her breath, "Ashe." And in that moment, the ritual was sealed. The guests returned home filled with joy, but unseen chains had already fastened around their destinies. 2 weeks later, whispers began to spread. Strange misfortunes struck those who had won the young people's Aso Ebi. One lost his job, another's child fell mysteriously ill, a promising entrepreneur went bankrupt overnight, and Folake, the shining star, faced the darkest of them all. It began subtly. One evening, she returned from work and noticed the Aso Ebi fabric folded in her wardrobe. Once bright and new, it now looked dull and worn, as if she had worn it for years. She laughed softly and said to herself, "This tailor's cloth quality safe," and thought nothing more of it. That night, she dreamt. In her dream, she saw herself standing in a mirror, radiant and beautiful, her skin glowing. But as she watched, her reflection began to wrinkle. Her eyes dimmed, her hair turned gray. She became frail and old within seconds. She woke up trembling, drenched in sweat. Yet, she brushed it off, thinking it was just exhaustion. Days later, her world began to crumble. She was suddenly called into the company boardroom, accused falsely of misconduct. Without warning, she was dismissed from her position, her reputation shattered. Then came the sickness. A strange weakness spread through her body. Her skin grew pale, her eyes dim, and her strength vanished. Her family took her from one hospital to another. Tests, scans, injections, but every doctor shook their head. "We can't find anything wrong." As her savings vanished, desperation set in. The family turned to men of God but found only liars. One prophet demanded goats and oil. Another said she must bathe in river water at midnight. Even a herbalist promised healing if she could bring a white hen. Each one left her poorer and weaker. One evening, when all hope seemed gone, a man of God named Pastor Elias was passing through the neighborhood doing evangelism. He felt a strange pull in his spirit and stopped before Folake's compound. He began to pray, calling on the Holy Spirit to bless the home. In the middle of his prayer, he paused and asked, "Is there anyone sick in this house?" Folake's neighbor quickly ran inside to call her family. They brought Folake out, frail, aged beyond her years, barely able to stand. The pastor looked at her and said softly, "The Spirit of the Lord will visit you, my daughter. May I return tomorrow to pray with you again?" Her family agreed. The next day, Pastor Elias came again. As he began to pray, the atmosphere changed. The air grew heavy, charged with unseen energy. Suddenly, he stopped and said, "There is something strange here. The Spirit says the sickness was bought. This woman used her own money to buy this affliction." Folake's family looked at each other confused. "Pastor, how can someone buy sickness?" her mother asked. The pastor turned to Folake. "Did you buy anything recently, daughter? Something you used in celebration?" Folake's weak eyes widened. "The Aso Ebi for Mama Dorcas' birthday." The pastor's voice trembled. That cloth was no ordinary fabric. It was a covenant of stolen glory. The enemy planned to take your life, but God has used your wealth as a ransom. He began to pray again, louder this time, invoking deliverance. As he prayed, Folake felt something lift. An invisible weight pressing on her chest vanished. Her breath deepened, her face softened. For the first time in months, she felt peace. That same night, miles away, Mama Dorcas' celebration of renewed youth came to a bitter end. As she sat on her balcony, enjoying the evening breeze, a sudden chill swept over her. Her hands began to tremble, her heart raced. The sickness that had tormented Folake found its way back to its rightful owner. Her skin turned pale, her body weakened, and her mind began to wander. The same fabric that had brought her power now haunted her in visions. Within days, she was bedridden, burning with fever, screaming in her sleep. "Bring me the Aso Ebi," she cried. "Where is the Juju man? They are taking my life. Bring me back my children's glory." Her servants fled in terror. Her family could not understand her madness. Doctors were helpless. They said her body was simply failing. In her final hours, she confessed everything: the Juju man, the incantations, the plan, the young people she had targeted. And as dawn broke, the once powerful woman, elder of the church, benefactor of the poor,
took her last breath, alone, trembling, consumed by the same darkness she had unleashed. Folake slowly recovered. Her wealth was gone, her strength only beginning to return, but her life had been spared. Those who saw her said she carried a quiet glow, a peace that could only come from survivor. And though she spoke little of what happened, everyone in Ogudu remembered. They remembered the grand party, the laughter, the beauty of the Aso Ebi, and the silence that followed.
Because from that day, no one ever bought another Aso Ebi without first whispering a prayer. And in every Yoruba gathering since, when elders tell stories by the fire, they end this one the same way. Not every cloth is for beauty. Some are sewn from the threads of destiny. Did you enjoy the story? Share your thoughts with us in the comment box below.